Hulk Hogan started his career with the World Wrestling Federation back in 1979, while the company was still under the ownership of Vince McMahon Sr. He was impressed by the Hulkster's charisma, as well as the size of the man, and for the next few years the pair would work well together, with Hogan beginning to make a name for himself in the league. However, once 1982 rolled round and Hogan was offered a role in the upcoming Rocky sequel, Rocky III, he was met with some pushback from Vince. Apparently, he was told that if he took the job, he was fired, and that's exactly what ended up happening. Hulk Hogan seemed to step out of the world of wrestling to try his hand at being a movie star. His time away from the WWF wouldn't last though, as later that year the company was purchased from Vince McMahon Sr. by his son Vince McMahon Jr., and he had plans to restructure everything. This meant bringing Hulk Hogan back to become the new face of the company, stepping over all the other professional wrestlers that were slated to take that spot, and forcing them to bend a knee to Hulk Hogan. This didn't make him look good in front of the rest of his peers, and I can see why many would begin to get annoyed with him. Hogan's reputation among his peers only continued to drop, however, as it was revealed that he essentially turned his back on one of his wrestling brothers. Jesse Ventura was one of the few wrestlers around 1986 that were actually trying to unionize the industry so that the fighters could get better contracts and other quality of life improvements for the talent. And apparently there was one moment when he would have had Vince's back against the wall. In an interview with Ventura, he mentioned a moment when he saw the chance to stand up in the locker room and let his fellow wrestlers know that it was time to form a union. He claimed that there was no management in the locker room and that there was a big event already being promoted, meaning that the wrestlers would have some leverage to make some demands that would improve their contracts. And honestly, that should have worked. But according to Ventura, he received a call from McMahon the next day, threatening to fire him if he were to talk about a union ever again. It wasn't long after when Jesse found out that it was Hulk Hogan who had ratted him out to their boss. This has since been confirmed by Vince himself under oath, while being questioned in court during a lawsuit that was brought forward by Ventura. This was surely another blow to the dwindling amount of respect that Hogan's peers had for the man, despite him being the face of their federation at the time. On top of that, Hulk Hogan was also accused by Randy Savage of meddling in his relationship. According to Savage, Hulk and his wife Linda were the ones who put a divisive line in his relationship with his wife Elizabeth, who would end up divorcing Randy and living at the Hogan residence for a short period of time. Hulk and Savage feuded for a while, and though Hogan was the one that inducted Savage into the Wrestling Hall of Fame after his untimely death, many who knew them claimed that Randy absolutely despised Hulk Hogan. If all of that wasn't bad enough, it's also come to light that a lot of wrestlers during Hulk Hogan's time on top were not happy with the amount of pay that they were receiving compared to the Hulkster. Even in the fights that Hogan lost, he would sometimes reportedly earn up to $1 million more than any other fighter. And while it's to be expected that someone who'd been in the industry for a while and was doing well would get paid more, many of Hogan's peers felt that the difference in pay was far too big and deemed it unfair. Now, Hogan's reputation with not only his peers but the public in general took another big downturn in the middle of 2015 when a transcript was leaked that revealed the wrestler as being a self-proclaimed racist. The conversation took place during the leaked adult film that was published by Gawker and involved Hulk Hogan discussing his daughter's love life. And we aren't going to say any exact quotes from the transcript except for one, and that's the wrestler himself literally saying, I don't have double standards. I am racist to a point. After that, he proceeded to use the N-word and spoke about his prejudice towards black people. Thankfully, the public and companies involved with Hogan reacted the way they should have and expressed their disgust for such horrendous remarks. He was subsequently cut from the WWE entirely, with his branding removed from many products and his entry to the Wrestling Hall of Fame removed from the website entirely. And on top of that, many of his peers in the industry let it be known that they don't tolerate that sort of bigotry and shared their true opinions of the former face of the company. Tora Ewan, aka the Big E, turned to Twitter with many other wrestlers to share his opinion by pointing out that Hulk basically appropriated a culture, profited wildly from it, and regarded its people as subhuman. And though Hogan went on to apologize for his remarks, his explanation was that he only said it because he grew up around people who said it, which, let's be honest, was a pointless argument. Just because you grew up around that word being said doesn't make it okay for them to say it. So, in the end, many people found his apology to be an empty one. And with many of his peers already upset with the way that Hogan treated them and the rest of the professional wrestlers on his way to the top of the industry, it would seem that his reputation would never be able to recover. In other words, even though he was eventually reinstated into the Wrestling Hall of Fame, It's not likely that he will ever be able to truly earn back the respect of his peers. What do you think about the Hulkster's wrestling career? Is the animosity towards him justified? Make sure you let us know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more misdeeds from your favorite wrestlers.